Everybody's using 2-litre inline fours.
It's a bit sad, to be honest.
It's quite sad actually. And the only thing you have to do is open up the spec sheet and see how much power you wanna.
No, you will beat him on, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait,
he just sounds fast only.
He'll break down halfway.
Before reach Genting, he'll overheat. Maserati. Autophiles!
In a BMW 530e.
I think we both are fans of BMW. We love BMW, we own BMW, and there's something special about BMW.
We practically burn money to the shrine of BMW.
We love BMW, we genuinely do. Despite the fact that there is a lot of complaints in the past 5+ years.
Yeah. My complaints go back 30 years.
If that is the case, then BMW has never learned their lesson. They just continuously do whatever they do. People just adapt to their weakness. Let's name some of these recent complaints. Their build quality on the interior has not improved significantly. The design language has not moved forward. There's no breakthrough.
Ever since the Bengal era.
There's no breakthrough. Some BMW looks okay, some looks mediocre. And for a premium market, you ought to do a bit better than that. This G30 and F10, to be honest, if you ask a person 20 years from now to tell which one is older, I'm pretty sure nobody can tell.
Yeah, definitely.
Nobody can tell which one is older.
Whereas every other 5 Series, you can see the progress. You can clearly see the progress. In fact, E39 to E60, huge jump.
Huge jump.
And then E60 to F10 is like the side step.
But we'll get to the design of the 5 Series in a bit. Other complaints include watering down of the driving pleasure, which to a certain extent is true. If you go back to the older BMs, they're more engaging. Significantly more. But then again, you have to understand, you can't sell them disengaging now.
Because your typical BMW driver now is just another businessman. Whose alternative is an Audi or a Mercedes.
Or a Mercedes,
He's not someone who's willing to give up, creature comfort
for a little bit more of driving pleasure.
And then that's where the next complaint comes in, which is they sometimes pander to a very weird audience. The egomaniac audience.
Oh, okay.
You can see they had a campaign called BMW M, where too much is just enough.
Too much is just enough.
And the ads came out and they were all like douchebag ads, all completely douchebag. And BMW M never does this kind of thing. They focus on the cars. The cars are fantastic.
In fact, they are more focused than AMG because AMG is crazy. Not only that, I think BMW also lost a bit focus in the past few years in terms of model lineup. They came up with so many models. And let's talk about first impression.
When this car was launched, it was met with very negative reviews.
Oh, why?
First of all, every other plug-in hybrid in Malaysia is sold as a top tier thing. So basically the government gives you savings. What the car manufacturer normally does is they put that savings into reducing the base cost of everything, and then they pack it full spec. So they give you everything. Give you a sunroof, the best body kit. You get the biggest rims. You get everything almost everything. Volvo does this with the S90. Mercedes does this with the E-Class, with the C-Class. And BMW also did this with the 3 Series and the X5. So suddenly for them to come out with the 5 Series, which is a mid-spec
hybrid. Then the petrol version is a high-end.
And the petrol version is about 40,000 ringgit more. Performance is
okay lah. 6 seconds is fast enough.
It's fast enough. So a lot of people put down the booking fee and all that.
And then realize it's empty.
And realize it's a kosong spec. So I mean, in this segment, face is everything, right? So face and value lah. So people kind of juggled it and said, you know what, I would rather spend that 40,000
extra
and get a more complete package. And also realize when you're buying a plug-in hybrid, you're also buying a lot of potential problems. Resale value is a potential problem. We don't know how these cars will age. So mechanically, everything,
much more complicated.
It's much more complicated. You have to weigh, if it's a full spec car and you're getting savings, then you can say, okay lah, I'll buy into the problems. Your petrol saving is not going to be huge. It's going to be there, but it's not going to be huge.
It's not going to make a big dent.
That's my first impression.
Okay. My first impression, let's talk a bit about 5 Series. 5 Series is a very important model in BMW lineup. A lot of people say 7 Series is a flagship. I don't think so. The 5 Series is the flagship in heart. I think in spirit, it is the flagship of BMW. It's a BMW without compromise. The 5 Series has always trailed behind, and I'm talking about 20 odd years ago. Historically has always trailed behind E-Class. But that being said, because E-Class was amazing, especially in the 90s. They built such a great reputation in the 80s that 90s they're untouchable. The 5 Series had always tried to catch up with it, but in its own formula. And they finally did this in the E60. And I think they did great in the E60, because even E60 today, a good condition E60, you look at it on the road, it still looks good. It has good lines, it's beautiful. Not only that, it has an aura. It has an aura that Mercedes-Benz had. And here had, which is I'm the boss. I'm coming through, you let me through. But not only does it have that aura, it also delivers in performance because it drives well. Some people say it doesn't drive as well as the previous one or marginally better than previous. Still, it is a great machine. It's not fast. I drove a 525. It is not a fast car, to be honest. 0 to 100, to be honest, BMW low-end top, generally not there. But when it gets to speed, my goodness, that thing is scary, man. On bendy roads, it beats a 350 TLS. Wow. So the E60 come and gone. Came the F10 now. To be honest, I personally think the F10 drives a little bit better than the E60. I personally, more modern. But most important issue is that it lacks the aura that E60 had. It's still good looking, but it is a pretty face without that fierce aura. I think they continue here. And that's the problem with this G30 5 Series, is that it continues in the trend of the F10, not in the spirit of the E60.
Or the 5 Series in general.
Or the 5 Series in general. It looks very mediocre, to be honest. It looks like an evolution of an F10. There is no breakthrough at all. I see a lot more E-Class on the road today than I see 5 Series on the road. And that tells me, you know, that something some people are noticing. That's why they're not buying this car.
Performance. So this 530e, it comes with the same 2-litre inline 4.
Inline 4. They're all using inline 4.
Everybody's using 2-litre inline 4. So the 2-litre in the 530i produces 350 Newton meters of torque.
Okay, but what about horsepower?
Horsepower is about 250.
That's quite highly tuned. So that's 530i. What about the 530e?
This has 180 horsepower.
Oh, it's a
290 torque.
It's an entry-level tuning for the inline 4.
Yes, but you get electric motor, of course, in the gearbox.
Okay.
With another 250 Newton meters.
That's a lot, huh?
That's a lot. So that's why when you look at the performance figures, both cars will still hit 6.2 seconds, 100 kilometers per hour. This one, it's not just the weight, you know. It's the delivery of the power when you're in comfort mode or Eco Pro mode, because it does tend to want to, you know, turn off the engine and go on electricity and all that.
In terms of speed, it's a fast car. It's a really fast car. If this is not enough for you, you are the type of people that needs an M lah.
Awesome help.
There are many fast cars in the world. Volvos are fast. Most Volvos are actually quite fast. Most Mercedes now are fast as well. It's a fast car, but fast is not everything. You know? 0 to 100 is not everything. If not, then you know Audi would have won, isn't it? I am not rewarded when I want to go zoom zoom.
It's a bit of disconnect.
There's a severe disconnect, not only in the way the power is delivered. There's a lot of interference, I like the way you see. A lot of unnecessary interference. But at the same time, the steering, my goodness, it is not good.
BMW in sport.
Now I feel now it's a bit better.
A bit better. The thing is, my problem with this car is, because it's a plug-in hybrid and you see how many modes they have, sport, comfort, Eco Pro and then adaptive. It's just too many cars in one. Now it's like a
schizophrenia that BMW never had. Because you see, a BMW has always been sporty. The steering has always been sharp, responsive and also rewarding. You know, it's schizophrenic. I go from what? Comfort, then it feels like a Mercedes-Benz. No, it feels like a badly tuned Mercedes-Benz. To a BMW feeling car with oversensitive pedal.
Accelerator pedal.
It doesn't have a mode that is ideal, I feel. This one, I don't know, man. It's almost Audi-ish. Huh? It's almost Audi-ish, especially in the steering feel. No offense to Audi, it's just that it's not BMW. I'm a bit disappointed, to be honest. 3.
Yeah, 3 out of 5. Design?
I think I've said it just now in the first impression. It is regressive.
You take an F10 and you add a bigger grille.
It's called an F10 to a facelift. And a facelift one more time.
That's all it feels like.
It feels like it.
Same exact lines, just accentuated in every direction. And inside also it's the same thing. The display is now floating. That's the biggest difference. Everything else is just widened. Well, I agree you need to have some continuity, especially as a European car. Look at how Mercedes-Benz does it, man. Wow. It's just wow. You know, in terms of design and how it makes you feel living with it every day.
looking at this, it's not. It's just not. It's not appealing, man.
If the drive was exceptional, then you can live with it.
I can. That's what BMW are. You can be ugly. You can made of wax. you can squeak everywhere. But if you drive like a real BMW, I would have forgiven all of that. Throw it all away and take my money, you know. Design-wise, I would give it a 3 out of 5.
I think I might have to give it lower. The G30 is a very imposing looking car. When I see one pass by, I look at it.
But it's not even half as imposing as the E60.
Yes. And it's the most forgettable 5 Series.
It is. I can't even remember how it looks like.
Yeah. Nothing about this design really speaks out to me.
Yeah.
It's the lost generation of 5 Series.
I think it will be. It's very sad actually. I feel very sad. I think a lot of people do. That's why you don't see that many of them here. It's not an ugly car. It's just there's no reason why it should be so non-discreet.
I mean, dude, you're selling against S90. You know?
Yeah, I know. S90 looks so much better.
S90 is a 5 out of 5.
Yeah. Value. Yeah, that one you talk.
This is the only segment where I think they can get good marks.
Okay, value.
Because
it's cheap.
This is 300 without GST. This is 340 odd thousand. 340. Yeah, you can see there are some E-classes at the 340, which is true. This performs like a full spec E-class. 6.2 seconds.
Like
you have
E300.
To yes, you have to spend 390,000 for E300. You spend 50,000 less, and you get the same. So, value-wise, of course, you don't get a sunroof. You don't get a couple of things. The rims are also 19-inch, but they're not the same design as the 530i.
Okay.
The headlights are not the adaptive LED things. They're just basic projectors.
To be honest, I mean, rationally thinking, I shouldn't be asking for a sunroof. Nobody should be asking for a sunroof in Malaysia.
Yeah.
What does it achieve? It creates problem in the future.
And especially in BMW interior, you will get
BMW quality rubber.
Yeah, it's just more problems.
It's just more problems. And I don't know if, but BMW drivers are a bit, self-conscious. I notice they tend to want to dress up nice. They live in other people's perception
and measure each other's.
They carry a ruler.
These things shouldn't matter to most drivers, to most car buyers. It shouldn't matter, and the package you're getting actually 3-4 is okay.
It's okay. I mean, in terms of value.
And I think by the looks of it, by the way the current government is going, I don't think we'll see a lot of plug-in hybrids in the future.
Not yet.
Everything is on hold for now, and it's still a fast enough car.
It is fast, man. It's very fast.
Value, I have to give it 4.
Okay. Value, I got nothing much to say here. I give it a 3 because value, I look at it intrinsically as well. There are other factors that I look at other than just, things, how much money you pay. I look at how it makes you feel, how you're perceived, how it rewards you. And what BMW does best, I don't find here. And what Mercedes-Benz does best, of course, this is very far from it. So in that sense, I feel that the value is also 3. So all in all, I gave this car a 3 out of 5 in every aspect. Very unfortunate. So it's a very mediocre car for me. Sorry, BMW. I cannot, with all my heart, recommend it. I would say it's a mediocre product.
And before you say that all our BMW reviews are poor, right? Remember we did the 320i and the 320d? We loved both those cars.
We loved both.
Yeah. So it's just the current phase of BMWs with their plug-in hybrids, which are a bit disappointing.
Wow, the turning radius is just as bad as the whole BMW. Okay,
Autophiles signing out.
Autophiles signing out from a mediocre product. In terms of model lineup, they came up with so many models, of which, 2-door version of a 4-door car, of a 2-door car. You have 4 Series. 4 Series by right is now a 2-door car, okay? But it's a 2-door car based on a 4-door car. Then you come up with a 4-door version of a 2-door car of a 4-door car.
Yeah, the game.
It makes no sense.